Hey, people. Welcome to my name is Danny. This is my channel, Comment Chat. Tonight, we're going to be Maz Mama Bear, my usual buddies in this endeavor on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are now a part of the Chaotic Conversation. Um, Before we get started, like I always do, I'm going to ask everybody to please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get 1,500 subscribers by Father's Day, which is the third Sunday in June. Also, I want you to please hit the notification bell so you don't miss any material that I upload. And also, please give me a thumbs up. That's going to help with the YouTube algorithm. I want to leave you and also give me the comments because I read your comments. I respond to your comments. It's very important to me. Before we get started on tonight's question, I'm going to ask my panel to please introduce himself. How you doing tonight, Chris and Mads?
I am doing well. I'm sorry, Mads. I just talked over you.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're used to it.
You talk over yourself, so.
I do. It's true.
Hey guys, Mads Mama Bear here. Invite me at on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Mads Mama Bear.
Good deal. Awesome.
I am Chris Knight and one half of the Real Review 3000. Check us out on the Real Review 3000 here on YouTube. Chris Knight 5150 at Twitter, and I think it's the Real Review 3000 on Facebook and Instagram. I'm sure before the end of the year, my kids will have me on Twitch. I'm just, so all that crazy stuff. And I too, Danny, am trying to get to 1,500 subs, but I have set that goal at June 9th, which was my parents' anniversary. So that's why I picked that day. So I am hoping, much like you, to be there fairly soon. And last I checked, I was like 1086, I think.
So I think I'm 1140, but we can only do it with your help, people. So please retweet this and please share the link and spread the word. We're all in pretty much a controlled stay at home, kind of modified in certain states, but all you got time on your hands now. So just sit down and watch us. We're going to try and bring you good content that's going to spark conversation, spark your mind, make you think of some things maybe you hadn't thought of before. Before we get into the show, we all want to say happy birthday to Ninjoid 243. Ninjoid is a very, very, very loyal follower. Every time we do a show, I always see him on there. He's always commenting. He's always doing super chats to some of the individuals. So we thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support, Ninjoid, and I hope you have a very happy birthday. I hope you see many, many more.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Ninjoid.
Now, tonight's question, I don't know where I got this from, but first, I hope that my brother and Terrence will be joining us later on the show. They're running a little bit behind. I know my brother he had to work. People are not adhering to the social distancing where he works at.
They're not?
No.
Because people are idiots, excuse me, but they're idiots if they're not listening.
Well, he's a manager at a grocery store, so I can kind of see them they're trying to get food and stuff. So
yeah,
I can kind of give him a pass. Mm-hmm. But he is very short tempered. He's quick fuse, and he was on the phone with me. And he was saying some choice words. I won't go into that. But anyway, I think I told him that I was sending him the link. If you want to join us, he may pop in later on. I hope so.
Okay.
But tonight's question is going to be about my favorite topic, which is comic books, in particular Justice League versus Marvel, so to speak. And the question is, you get to choose. There's three smart. Well, I picked three of the smartest intellectual minds in Marvel that you can choose from. One being Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Number two being Shuri, which is the younger kid sister of the Black Panther. The third being Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And the question is, their mission is to neutralize the Justice League. They get 1 year to study each of the core members in the Justice League, which consists of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, and Aquaman. Whoever you choose gets 1 year to study each one of these people and come up with a plan to neutralize, not kill, but neutralize their powers, put them somewhere where they will just say they're the bad guys like Injustice. They went evil. Which one would you choose to be out of Shuri, Tony Stark, or Reed Richards? and what would you do to try and neutralize them? Now, this don't have to be like super scientific brain surgery. This is what you basically know from the comic books you read, movies you've seen. If you could choose one, which one would you choose, and how would you go about neutralizing the Justice League? I'm gonna let ladies go first. Mama, may I ask Mama Bear, or would you prefer to go last? I'm gonna give you your choice, first or last.
I'm good either way. If Chris is ready, he can go.
I
And I'll go if y'all want.
respectfully
Okay.
I respectfully defer to the lady also. So go right ahead if you would like to start, or I will go.
I can start.
Okay.
Okay. I went with Shuri. Knowing
Sure.
what I know about all three characters, she has the one that's the most interesting with the most potential for me. I mean, wasn't mentioned in the movie, but in the comics, she actually also had the Purple Heart herb that gives the Black Panther's powers. So everything that T'Challa can do, she has the same ability.
Just at a
She's
different
got,
time, not at the same time.
actually, I believe at the same time they grew up that, but they both grew up with that. Okay. Either way, after a year of studying, I'm different for a bunch of them. I'm deferring to a lot of the weapons, which I have explanations on if we need. I'm gonna start with Batman. I'd start off with a spider bite, which is the desert sands, which is an EMP blast. That'll cut out like almost all of his toys. Then the
Say it
spider
again.
bite, desert sands. These
Okay.
are actually on her wiki.
Okay.
Which is essentially it's a cloud like EMP blast. That'll cut out most of his toys. A spider bite will knock him out with electricity. Like basically it's a fun taser.
Okay.
Go with Wonder Woman, and I admit I'm taking a bit from Justice League Doom on this one. But Shuri has this one called Holopods, where she can multiply herself, like, to infinite. And it's already been proven that Wonder Woman has that weakness where she can get overwhelmed by the same target. And she will wear herself out on that. And that's how I would take that. Aquaman was an easy pick, because Wakanda actually has a long-standing feud with Atlantis. And she took out Namor using what's called the Desert Sun and that hyper-dehydrate to the point of almost desiccation. So I went with that for Aquaman and Flash, knowing Flash's metabolic count and what he needs to just get by on a daily basis. The dehydration would easily take care of that. Green Lantern, I'd go with the shock net. Superman, he was the one that took a bit of fun research. But his own superpowers is what I'm using against him. His high frequency, his high hearing, in particular. Shuri has the capabilities of building an ultrasonic device that would overwhelm his senses. Am I making any sense?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I
don't think that would stop him, but go right ahead.
High enough. It is one of his weaknesses that if it's high enough, beyond the point of human hearing, it can actually neutralize him. And I can pull up the information on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Batman, you would use something called a spider bite.
Yeah, which is an EMP blast.
And you say Wonder Woman, Hollow Bloods.
Holopods, yeah.
And what does that do? I'm sorry, I was talking to my kid. I'm so sorry.
Holopods, it basically has the same effect from like Justice League Doom, where she can multiply herself to basically infinity if she wants.
Kind of like how Wonder Woman fought Cheetah because she was
fought millions of
hallucinating.
Yeah. Same effect.
Okay.
I'm going to dehydrate Aquaman and Flash. That's an easy way to neutralize both of them.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny that my way to defeat both of them is pretty much the same too. Or, oh wait, no, it isn't. It's that Aquaman and the Green Lantern. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
And GL, I went with the shock net, which is like a taser type thing.
Okay.
So it's literally an electric net.
All right. And Superman is ultrasonic device. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Mr. Knight, you're up next, sir.
Yeah, I typed this out because I wanted to get everything right. Do either one of you want to guess who I picked?
Iron Man.
Okay. You were going to say that too. Oh, well, you're right. Go figure. Okay, I picked Tony Stark because I tell people a lot of times I see a lot of similarities in him and me. I will not say that I necessarily consider myself worlds above everybody else smart. That's not what I'm saying. The cockiness, the talking, all that stuff.
Can't do that at all.
No, of course not. So in a sense, because he's so smart and because he's cocky and all that, he's also kind of lazy. Takes a lot of what other people do and he uses it to help him do what he needs to do. I believe that because of this, that he would look at everybody and he would start with the person who's most like him, and that's Batman. He would study Batman and he'd try to figure out everything he could about Batman. First off, I think he would realize, as smart as he is, that he may have himself figured out a way to do the job he's after to do, which is neutralize the Justice League. Batman's calculating. He's smart. He thinks ahead. He protects himself. And he always seems to have a plan just in case. By that, he would figure that his job would be slightly easier if he started fully on Batman and how to neutralize Batman. So by studying Batman, you would quickly realize that he is, in fact, only human, much like Tony Stark is. Doesn't have any superpower per se. He doesn't have anything that, makes him unbeatable without a doubt. He is basically the DC equivalent of Tony Stark, but better. I would even say better, but they are an equivalent to each other. Knowing that he's only human, you would figure out how to use that against him. The first thing is to find out what human he is. Tony Stark, like Bruce Wayne, they're only able to be superheroes for two simple facts. They're both smart and they're both rich. When Tony Stark realizes that Batman would have to be rich and smart to be Batman. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm reading my notes here. When he takes that into account, it would only be a matter of time until you would narrow down the pool of rich, young to middle-aged men in stellar shape. And in doing so, you would deduce that Batman is probably Bruce Wayne. You could then start to narrow down how to neutralize Bruce Wayne, because being a man doesn't really matter that he's Batman. You have to figure out what the man's weakness is. He's human. So by studying Bruce Wayne, you'd realize he's a humanitarian, gives to a ton of charities, and that the human cause, human nature, protecting humans is what he does. So you could probably threaten people and expose his humanitarian side, and that would be a way to lure him. you could also look into his background. You could, if you figure out that he's Bruce Wayne, you could look into his background. That would be another thing you could do. And in doing so, you would find out that his parents were killed. And I would assume hacking some other ways, you would probably be able to figure out that he personally blames himself mostly for their death. Now, that would probably be the easier way to get to him. You could set up a trap in a room with a heavy sleeping gas, some sort of way to keep him locked in it until he was knocked out. And I know that seems weird, but he's human, so you can get a heavy sleeping gas and knock him out. It's been done before. So let me see here. Like I said, I got to keep up on my notes here. So you could either make him think that people are in trouble to set the trap, or you could use the guilt of his parents' death to get into that trap. Like, I don't know, stealing the bodies of his parents, which has been done before to lure him. So that's how I would get him there. Now, in his research and Tony's research, you probably learned about his obsession with the rest of the Justice League and how to neutralize them. This would mean that he had already done the rest of the work with his suits, smarts, and gadgets. He would find a way to find the Batcave. I mean, some sort of ground penetrating radar, some way to find it. He would have some more time because you're talking about a whole year here. I would figure the time it would take him to research Batman thoroughly to learn this stuff, maybe 6 months. With everything else he has, I don't think it'd take very long to find the Batcave. You find the Batcave, and you would find the dossier that Batman was known to have on ways to neutralize the rest of the Justice League. By finding that, you'd know that he had already figured out that to neutralize Superman, you could weaponize kryptonite. In fact, it would say how he came up with the red kryptonite by exposing radioactive material to regular kryptonite. It made red kryptonite. And it was developed to in the event that he needed to incapacitate Superman, and I believe it turned his skin transparent, and that would cause him to feel intense pain. It would also overload his natural solar absorption to the point where his super senses become overwhelmed, thus neutralizing Superman. You would also find out with Wonder Woman, she has intense determination. And I believe Batman came up with the idea to put a nanite in her ear that caused a trying to think
Hallucination.
What? Well, yeah, hallucination. What was it? I gotta find it now. Virtual reality. He created a virtual reality copy of herself or of an opponent that she would constantly fight until she was fully tired out and exhausted. But the problem is if this were to continue, she would die of exhaustion. So you'd have to make sure you had a way of turning it off. The Flash, there was a couple ways that I think I've heard that Batman had come up with to defeat the Flash. One was a vibra bullet that if it hit him in the back of the neck while he was running would actually cause him to have seizures at light speed. The other way that he came up with it for the Flash was that he created a watch that had a bomb in it that if he stopped running would explode. Thus, wherever he stopped running, anybody around him, anything around him would be in danger. So he would basically have to continue to run forever. Which again would probably bring up exhaustion, maybe, because I don't think he really gets exhausted. But Aquaman, obviously, if he needs water and you make him afraid of water, then he's pretty screwed. So what would you use? Well, the Scarecrow has a hallucination drug that makes people hallucinate, and if you make him hallucinate and believe or take over his mind enough that you can make him believe that he is afraid of water and has aquaphobia, then he wouldn't go to the water. Now that would kill him. So you would, again, if you were a bad guy, you would definitely take advantage of that. But you could also find some way to maybe like in small doses make this work. So if he was incapacitated and you could maybe dial down the dose enough that he would still be incapacitated but not kill him, just frightened enough. And then for the Green Lantern, the same thing. His requirement for being the Green Lantern is his willpower and confidence. And so if you use the Scarecrow's fear gas, you could basically make him believe that he was the reason for the death of innocent people. Thus, he would just renounce his ring, because that you can't do that if you're a Green Lantern in the Green Lantern Corps. So that's how you would incapacitate him. And then basically after you did all that, you would find that he even himself, Bruce Wayne, Batman, even told himself or put it in his file how to incapacitate himself. And you would find out that people in danger and his parents and his rage basically of his parents' death and his responsibility for such, or what he believed was his responsibility, is the way to defeat him. You'd also find out really in that studying and finding that dossier that Batman realized that he would have to do whatever was necessary to do the right thing. He knew the hard truth, which was that that he would have to do everything he could to defeat his closest friends if they ever became evil. And that's why he had the file. He would also learn that Batman not being evil would have an antidote for every one of these things. They would have a way to bring these people back from the brink of death, because some of this stuff would cause death. And now my only problem with this question is you only made it about the core members. If anybody attacked any of the core members or even started to do any of these things, you'd literally have to do it simultaneously and instantaneously, because if you did any of this, the rest of the Justice League would be alerted and you'd be screwed. So, okay. I mean, taking that out of taking the rest of the Justice League out of the equation, that's how I do it. So, like I said, the simplest way is to study the man who has no powers. He would have to have some sort of protection against everybody else himself. And by doing so, you would quickly realize by finding out who this person was, that he had probably himself done a lot of that work. So that's kind of what I would do.
Very good. Very, very detailed. Can't say nothing bad about that at all.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I also chose Tony Stark because I think he is awesome sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if he had enough time to in Endgame, had enough time to study Thanos, he could have built an armor that would withstand the power of the Infinity Stones, but that's a topic for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Having 1 year time, that's a lot for Tony Stark. A lot of time. I do agree that he would take his toughest two would be Batman and Superman. So I'm thinking he's going to save those two for last. If it were I were Tony Stark, I would go after Green Lantern first, because he's just a mere human too, but he got a power ring.
Mm-hmm.
Also, his weakness is also the color yellow.
Yep.
So I think that if he was able to separate the ring from Hal Jordan, that right there is 50% of the fight. Mm-hmm. Also, it would encase him on maybe some planet or some room that's yellow, and he could give him food and whatever he wanted to, but the room would be yellow, or the ring would be in something yellow that it could not psychically connect to Hal Jordan. He couldn't call anything. I would also separate him from Hal Jordan's power battery, because if the ring is out of juice, then it's really no good. So the first thing you got to do is going to have to separate Hal Jordan from the ring, which I think he could. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, did you know that Batman one time painted himself yellow to do such thing? That was another way Batman had to defeat him.
Yeah, that's Batman, man.
I know. It's like the guy was smart.
Yeah, definitely. And on one of those shows, Batman even kind of like pickpocket the ring off of Green Lantern's finger.
Just came right.
So, so Batman is in a class by himself, but I'll get to that.
Yep.
So the first thing I would take out is Green Lantern. I would separate him from the ring, put it in somewhere yellow. Oh, Sean's going to join us.
Okay. Hey, Sean.
What's up, Mr. Stackhouse?
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
All right. I separate the ring, put it somewhere yellow, separate the battery, keep it in 2 different locations, and neutralize him that way. Second, I would go to the Flash. If you're watching the Flash now, Flash is in serious trouble because somehow the Speed Force was killed. So in the comic books, they had to create. Right now, they're in the process of creating an artificial Speed Force, kind of like the Reverse Flash did in the Negative Force. So if you can separate his connection to this new artificial Speed Force he's doing, then in a few days he's going to run out of power. So Iron Man is technical enough to find this Speed Force, whatever devices he used, able to put some kind of jamming device and can neutralize Barry Allen, aka the Flash, and take him out of the picture that way. Next, I will go to Aquaman. Some books say that Aquaman has to go in water a certain amount of time. Some says he does. I'm not sure which one, but I'm going with the fact, based on the movie that I saw, it looked like he could stay out of water as long as he wants. But one of his main powers is weaknesses is his mother and Mirror. So if you put them in a situation where, look, if you don't do exactly what I say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't know if he could go to that, but the way to neutralize him is definitely if he could contain his mother and put her somewhere and Mirror. And if the water he has to be in the water a certain amount of time, he can limit his time to the water. I'm thinking that's more Man from Atlantis, Namor's weakness, but I'm not really sure on Aquaman. But if it is,
it depends on what you read.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on where you want to go. The movies, I don't think it matters as much.
Yeah,
I think that's the case with the DCAU Justice League and Justice League Unlimited Aquaman. I think he has to be in the water amount of time.
And I think in the comic books, in a lot of them, he has to do that too. But again, even in the comic books, it can change, I'm sure.
Yeah. If it is, I will limit his time out of water. I remember seeing on one cartoon, Spider-Man's Amazing Friends, the comedian changed the water to alcohol. So when Namor jumped in the alcohol, the water that he thought it was water, but it was actually alcohol, it dried him out. And that would weaken him. So you can do the same thing for Aquaman. Just keep alcohol spray on him a certain amount of times whenever he starts regaining strength. Next would be Wonder Woman. I would agree with what y'all said. You can get some kind of hallucinogenic drug and make her fight someone. She'll fight herself to exhaustion. Also, if you take off the gold belt she has, that increases her power. I would take that off and weaken her. Remove her bracelets. That also gives her some kind of strength. And just keep the hallucinogen in her system and keep her this. Whenever she's rested, I just keep her fighting, not to the point of exhaustion, but okay, she's defeated them. She's done rest a little bit. And I've sent another army, just wave after wave or wave. And somehow during the fight, get that belt off of her. That's going to reduce her strength. If you watch Red Sun, she's susceptible to her lasso as well. Or at least in that movie she was. So if that applies to this, and I'm going to say it does, if you can get the lasso, you can subdue her too, because she's just susceptible to the lasso as humans are, whoever she uses it against. Mm-hmm. Next, I will do Superman. You get several different ways you can slow him down. One thing, you got to weaponize kryptonite, like you said, get him in a weakened state, and then put him in a room where that does not have one shred of yellow sun. I'll just put red sun lanterns all over it. They did that in Red Sun. Without the power of the yellow sun to energize his cells, he's as weak as a baby. I would keep spraying different kryptonite gases every 30 minutes or however long time frame. As soon as he start to get with the addition of the red lights and the kryptonite gas, I'd keep him subdued. If that didn't help, I find some kind of strong magician like Dr. Fade or Dr. Strange and put some kind of magical spell in the room wherever he's at. In addition to that, last but not least is Batman, who I think is the most dangerous out of the six Justice League members. The only way you're going to get the Batman now is through Alfred and Selina Kyle. You're going to have to put them in mortal danger. Something that if he does the first thing wrong, you're gonna seriously hurt or maim on them. I don't think you're gonna be able to outsmart Batman, outmaneuver him, but you got to have one of those two, if not both of those people. That's the only way you're gonna kind of keep him in check. In addition to that, you're gonna have to make him reveal his secret identity, because that's one of the most precious things he has and what he does protect. But if the whole world knows he is Batman, or you threaten to show the whole world, then you can keep him at bay, I think, more than anything else. And Tony Stark has the technology to find out who that was. I mean, who he is, the Bat Cave. He can get actual video footage of him in the bat suit or changing into the bat suit. I think he has sophisticated enough technology to do that. So the combination of threatening to reveal his secret identity and having Selina Kyle and Alfred hostage somewhere, I think that would be the only way to effectively neutralize Batman. That's what I would do. And also in Superman, if he can successfully build a Hulk armor, he probably can build a Superman armor. I don't know and I guess powered with kryptonite would be the only thing I can know that would even give him a chance to go toe to toe with Superman.
Well, he made, if we're going by just about everything we've seen where you could read about these people, if he made an Infinity Gauntlet that could work, then he could put kryptonite in something like that. That just,
you can make a kryptonite gauntlet and
beat Superman. Literally, just punch him and.
Yeah, but all you really need to do is Superman or one or two things, like because I've seen these done in some of the animated movies. One,
wait. Are you participating in all of this?
Well, I'm just giving an example of what.
Oh, so this isn't what you're gonna do?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying like one or two ways. Like one, I've seen in like animated form, you could shoot him with a kryptonite bullet, or you could put him like. If you can subdue him, you can put him in a room that has nothing but red sunlight.
Oh, that's what he said.
Then he's toast.
Yeah, and
you did that in red bullet.
Red kryptonite, like I said, what Batman came up with. I think he even said that
not red kryptonite. Red kryptonite makes Superman go a little
mean.
Mean. Yeah.
Well, but no, it red kryptonite.
In Smallville, that's what it did.
Well, even in comic book lore, yeah. I mean, it just makes him lose all inhibitions. He'll do whatever he wants.
Everything I saw said that Batman decided that red kryptonite would work because it actually would put his senses in hyperness where he wouldn't be able to concentrate on anything, and it turns him translucent or something like that. I'd have to go back. I can look at my.
Well, I'm not done. You saw that in Wikipedia. I mean, he probably said that. I'm pretty sure it did, or wherever you read it at.
Yeah,
you're talking about
gives them like super ADD. Really.
Well, basically, the what Batman had figured out is that if you expose green kryptonite to radiation, it weaponizes it. Basically, makes it red kryptonite. Causing him to, what it does is it causes his skin to turn transparent after being exposed to it, causing him to feel intense pain that would also overload his natural solar absorption to the point where his super senses become overwhelmed. Now, would that make him go berserk? Perhaps, sure, but
absolutely. If he could
but if he's in intense pain and cannot focus, which again, with his senses going haywire, he wouldn't be able to focus.
I think back to like the like in the Man of Steel where he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he locked himself in the closet because he couldn't
and perhaps being Superman, he wouldn't want to hurt anybody. Maybe. I don't know if it turns him mad or whatever. I guess maybe he wouldn't think about it, but maybe you rely on the fact that he doesn't want to hurt anybody and he finds a place he can lock himself into.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going off the fact that it would make him himself not be himself in a way that I think in the right conditions.
He may actually go seek out the professor, I forget his name, but from Star Labs, and say, hey, put me in like a room that has, the red sun, and take all these senses away from me right now, because I don't know what I'm capable of under all of this.
Yeah. No.
Because you have to realize, at the end of the day, at the core of Superman, he's a Boy Scout. So if he's in his right mind, with all this going on, he's not going to want to hurt anybody.
If he can't fix it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
You want to take a stab at it, Sean, or you just?
Well, I read the parameters. Can you guys kind of go over it really quick?
Basically, you get to choose your either Shuri, Black Panther's sister, Reed Richards, or Tony Stark. Your mission is you got to neutralize the Justice League without killing them. You got 1 year to study their habits, study them, and come up with a viable plan that's going to neutralize them. Just your opinion on what you would do, which person would you choose, and how would you go about neutralizing the core Justice League, which consists of Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, and Superman.
Interesting. Well, Shuri is smarter.
That's what Mom's picked.
Yeah, she's smarter than Tony.
Yeah.
Yep.
My and real quick before you started, I picked Tony Stark, but I even said he's smart, but because of that, he also likes to use what other people have done to get where he wants to go. So I said because of his laziness, he picked Batman first. Because
where is he lazy at though? I don't understand.
I don't want to say lazy. He just will take the easy road if he can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and his smarts will kick in.
That's why, I honestly think that if you have a face off against Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, I think Bruce Wayne is going to ultimately build the better tech more quickly.
Yes, and I even said that too.
I'm just gonna say, he had 8 years and he didn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
Huh? Say it again.
In Endgame, he had 8 years after the Thanos snap.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 5.
He came up with nothing.
I think it was. I don't know.
Either way, it was way more than a year.
Yeah.
I think it's a difference then.
But again,
Batman.
remember, in Endgame when they come to him, it's somebody else's thought that sparks what he does.
Yeah.
And so again,
but y'all gotta realize too now, Batman, Bruce Wayne relies heavily on Lucius Fox.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
You don't come up with all of that.
But wait. To that point, Lucius always comes to him and says, "I gotten it this far, but it's going to take somebody smarter than me to do."
But you guys also have to take in consideration Lucius Fox was created for Batman the Animated Series.
That's true, but I mean, when he's around
before that was Bruce Wayne on his own.
It's true. And Alfred only in later stuff became a guy that helped with tech. Before, Alfred just knew what was going on, kind of helped, and then God forbid you're talking about the 60s series, he wore the little eye mask.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're getting into your time, Sean. Sorry.
No, it's cool. I would definitely pick Shuri because she is one of the brightest out of the entire Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubt. So if she were going to take out the Flash, we saw in the Flash, I forget what the name of it, but that the injection that gave
I know you're talking about
he just took it like an episode or so ago to try.
Yeah, he did.
But since they've been able to formulate something to give a speedster who's lost their speed, I have no doubt in my mind that she could probably.
I think it's called Velocity X or something like that.
Yeah, Velocity 6 or
Velocity X.
Velocity X. That's right, because that was when they had the real Jay Garrick in chains, and Zoom was actually pretending to be Jay Garrick a few seasons ago, but I think she could whip up something that would be an injection, and it would be something similar. But I think it could easily
Slow down.
Well, I think it could just maybe take the Speed Force completely out of his body. I think that either that
Vibranium or whatever.
the what?
So using some of the vibranium technology you talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, she could inject him with something that would either take it completely out, or it would just keep it from sparking. It would make it could be in his body, but it would be dormant, so he couldn't access it. So I think the Flash would be like, she could do that like on no sleep, I mean, and Batman, well, Batman, I don't think she'd have much trouble with like quite a few of the Justice League members, just because she's so smart. And Batman, keep in mind, Batman is just a human being. Now, he has the willpower of God knows how many human beings put together, but I think that if she can avoid Batman actually getting to her without her knowing it, she could come up with something that would mess with his mind, and make him relive the moment that his parents were shot over and over and over, and basically turn him into somebody that needs to go into like a padded room because he's lost his mind. I don't know how she could administer that. It could be an injection, it could be some sort of sonic wave that's directed at the brain, and there's a lot of ways that she could do that. And let's see, Aquaman, Aquaman's that's a good question, because I think really it goes back to what you said, Danny. It's like either Mira, or if you go like by the movie, could be Mira, his mother, or his father. If you now Mira, not so much, because Mira can kick some ass herself. But if you were to happen to maybe get a hold of his father and threaten his life, and I think Arthur would come willingly trying to save him. And what could you do to Aquaman besides like assuming that he doesn't need to be back in the water?
I mean, most of what I read says he has to be in water at some point. He has to have time in water. So I thought pretty much that's how you defeat him. But the problem here is, I'll just say real quick, Danny did stipulate that we can't kill them. So when you think about it, you'd have to have something like, and I didn't think about this before, but I would say something like water torture, not to bring up torture or anything, but something that would drip on him, give him amount of water that would keep him alive.
All right. So
but not.
What you would do with Aquaman is you would kidnap Aquaman's father, and you would hold him somewhere in the Middle East where it's all desert.
Well, then I brought torture up. You didn't have to bring the Middle East up too.
Well, only because it's all desert. It's all desert. And so Aquaman he would have to actually walk. Stipulate that he cannot use a vehicle of any kind. He has to actually walk to the like he can drop out of the plane like he did in the movie, on set coordinates, and then walk to where his father's being held. And if it might take him a day or 2 days, however long it takes for Aquaman to start needing water. And once he gets there, he's weakened enough to where they could overpower him, and then put him in shackles, and then drip water on him like every couple of days or what have you.
Okay.
Wakanda has previous experience with neutralizing Atlanteans, right?
They have what?
They have an ongoing war with their Atlantis.
Oh yeah, because of Namor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure they have plenty of ways to deal with an Atlantean.
Yeah.
Superman. I would just shoot him with a kryptonite bullet, and you would have to take the bullet out because it would kill him, but I'd shoot him with a kryptonite bullet. Once you move him into a gel cell that has the red sunlight, you could easily operate and remove the bullet because his skin is no longer impenetrable. Done and done. Superman is in a cage. He doesn't have his powers. Who else do we have? Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Man, she's tough because Wonder Woman is like up there with Superman as far as her powers go. What are her weaknesses? Does she have any weaknesses?
She won't stop.
She won't stop.
But that's the thing. You have to use that against her. And so what I said was again, I took Tony Stark's approach to this. If somebody else has already thought of it, why do I have to think of it? By finding out Bruce Wayne, or by finding out Batman's Bruce Wayne, you figure out that he himself, being human, would have to know, being a superhero, that he would have to have some way to protect himself from any of the other Justice League members from hurting him or going berserk or whatever. So in doing so, you'd assume, and your smart ability to be smart, Tony Stark would realize that he himself had probably already done the work with Bruce Wayne being smart. So by doing so, you'd have to figure out who Batman was. And with enough time, you could figure that out pretty simply. He's from Gotham. He's middle-aged. He's young to middle-aged. He's in great shape. And he's got to be rich to have all the toys. You're going to figure out it's Bruce Wayne. You figure out who Bruce Wayne, what he's about, which is humanitarianism and charities. You can either get him with people, or you would find out, being Bruce Wayne, that his parents were killed. You could probably do some hacking, figure out from some psychiatric treatment or something that he himself holds himself responsible for it. And it's been done before, where they dug up his parents and stole his parents' bodies. You could do that to get him into a room where you could hit him with some heavy sleeping gas, and
I've already done that.
I know, but that's how I did it. By doing so, though, then Tony Stark, you'd have a way of doing ground penetrating radar. You find the Batcave, you find where he keeps all his stuff. He's done the work. You're pretty certain of it. You go in the Batcave, you find a dossier with all the rest of the information. You're done.
With Wonder Woman, all you would really have to do, since she refuses to stop, I mean, she's a warrior through and through. Mm-hmm. You need to trap her into, I saw in an episode of Justice League where Cheetah scratched her, or somebody scratched her, and she saw Cheetah everywhere. Like every human being that passed by was Cheetah.
And that's kind of where we all were.
Yeah. So if you can trap her in some sort of mental state where, she thinks everything is her enemy, or like a virtual reality.
Exactly.
And it has to be somebody that's her equal, her equal.
What I said is virtual. I'm sorry. When I said it was virtual reality of herself fighting herself.
Oh, well, yeah. But it's got to be somebody that's her equal in every way. And because of her surrender to stop under any circumstances, it would eventually cause her to tire out and then die.
Well, you see, and you don't want her to die, so you'd have to have a way, like with virtual reality, you could turn it off long enough that she could rest.
Yeah.
This does require you, being whoever you pick, to at least be on top of a couple of the members, because a couple of the members are easy to disarm. It's not killing them that makes it a little harder.
So yeah, okay. You could if she's been infected by something that makes her to see things, maybe you release a gas in the room that she's in or what have you to put her to sleep, and so she can relax and not have, that way she won't die. Okay, so I've done Superman, Batman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman,
Green Lantern.
I'm reading here, and they say her bracelets actually inhibit some of her power. If she takes them off, she'll be even stronger. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I thought.
Yeah. If you take her bracelets off, she will eventually become a mindless berserker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard that before, but
I just read it here on Screen Rant.
That's crazy. I thought they actually enhanced her power.
No,
that belt she wears
does.
that enhances her power. Kind of like Thor.
Mm-hmm.
The belt Thor wears in the comic book.
So she's got powers. So she's an oxymoron of herself because she wears something that enhances her powers, but something that doesn't.
And also her own lasso. She can be bound by her own lasso.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, she can. So, Green Lantern is going to be super easy if it's Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan is a dog. You send like this hot woman over to him. She roofies his drink when he's not really paying attention. Then once he's under control of the roofie, you slip the ring off his finger. Done and done.
So you're sending in Black Widow?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And she'd be the woman to do it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I
Her and a black cat.
I let her have whatever jewelry I was wearing. I mean, I'll go get some jewelry, but
you want this thing? Oh, fine. Here, you're gonna have it.
Take it.
Green would make your eyes and your hair.
But what? Gotham High Rider just announced that Alfred is Bruce's gay uncle.
What?
That man is now Chinese and from Hong Kong.
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
That's
for tomorrow's show.
Going off all day on
Gotham.
That's for tomorrow's show for sure.
This is Gotham High as far as Toking High.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If that's true,
no,
we're doing that tomorrow.
There is a Gotham High. I've heard that.
We're talking about that tomorrow.
Wow. Oh
yeah, it's a whole bunch of cringe. Right up until they announced this Gotham High, I'm like, you know what? At least we all got to DC.
Jesus.
Oh
my
God. Have you seen the trailer for it yet, Sean?
No.
What? That?
Yeah, I guess
it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh
no, it's a book
that,
but it got it in cartoon form.
Fuck
y'all seen it?
That.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Comic book?
It's a comic book. Let me see if I can pull the trailer up.
And not a cartoon.
It's a comic book, but yes, there is a trailer for it.
But it's not going to be a cartoon.
I don't know. It was going to be.
Oh God.
But I think that has been kiboshed.
As long as it's not a cartoon, the comic book will probably be canceled within maybe 10 issues at the most.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Most of their stuff that they've launched that go against the grain of like the traditional origins have not done very well.
Mm-hmm.
Besides,
I maintain it. All of the major companies got together and just decided they had way too much.
We have too much money. We have too much.
Let's put out crap.
Let's start sending out crap right now. Okay, let's do it.
It is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to pull up my computer. It's super slow tonight. But the trailer is ridiculous. It's probably been trending for the past couple of days.
I have gigabit internet, and there's a lot of stuff right now that's being stupid.
Well, it's because the internet's being heavily taxed right now.
That's true, but
Netflix went down the other day for people out like in like certain areas of the country and around the world because people are they're home. They're of all the times for me to have gotten rid of like all of my physical media or most of my physical media as far as movies and stuff like that. I have all my music and my records, but if the internet takes a dive, I don't have anything to watch.
I can look at some stuff.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm telling you, it's not going to be zombies that end the world. It's going to be something posted all across the internet. But you were going down for 24 hours. Talk to each other.
Right.
What are we doing here, though? They can't.
No.
Internet.
First of all, we can't get within 6 feet of each other. So
Smoke signal. Oh.
How did I get you that mask then? How did I get you that mask then, Sean? Oh, that's right. You sent your mom out to get that mask.
yeah.
You risked your mother's livelihood to get you a mask.
Yeah.
You dog.
Yeah.
It's like, so her time on Earth is short. Oh God, this already scares me.
I don't like the graphic.
It looks like a bad
Sean, can you
Scooby-Doo
do us all a
graphic.
favor and record Chris arguing with himself one day?
Chris arguing with himself?
Yes,
I mean,
I'm sure he does it.
yeah.
That'll be hilarious.
You don't have to. Just watch some of my videos. I do it. I'll be stopping and like, well, no, not that way, but whatever. You want me to try it?
Yeah,
Let me see if I can get it up.
It's just steady.
Because the internet is saying, "Hey guys, I'm being overtaxed.
Oh, God, this looks bad.
Stop your crap, or I'm going to go down on all of you."
Welcome to Gotham High.
I think I got it now. Yeah.
It's very blurry though.
Yeah, it's extremely blurry.
Bruce Wayne. Friends, he has followers. My friend Jack Napier has
Hold on.
Jack,
Here,
nothing
I'll
to
do
his
it.
name.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it.
And wicked.
Hey, Danny. Yeah, I'll do it here. Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You can share that real quick.
Hey, chat, let's have some fun with this. 1 to 10 for the cringe meter.
Do what?
1 to 10 on the cringe meter for the chat.
Oh, God, yeah, this will be interesting. Let me know if I can turn it up or whatnot because
Yeah.
let me know if you hear it or not. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you hear it?
Welcome to Gotham High, where everyone worships the rich and the beautiful. And no one is richer or more handsome than Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have friends, he has followers. My friend Jack Napier has nothing to his name, except good looks and a wicked sense of humor. The problem is that I love them both. I'm Selena Kyle, that girl next door. And in my opinion, a triangle is a perfect shape.
Well, Bruce doesn't look Asian.
No, but I'm sure they're writing it in.
Yes,
like that.
You got a little
he
Asian
is.
tint to
His
it.
mother is now was originally now from Hong Kong, by the name of Ma Sha Dean.
I was going to go with Martha Wang.
Yeah, no, Ma Sha Dean.
Interesting.
Was she like a servant or something of Bruce Wayne's dad?
No, her family are
Immigrants or something?
billionaire type thing, and
So her
that's
dad
the
is
money.
still American, Bruce or Thomas Wayne.
No,
There's no
Oh.
dad in the picture. It's just
I don't know
Bruce.
about the dad, but yeah, she marries Bruce's dad, and
So it's not his dad. So she
and
doesn't die in this.
But
I don't know, but the money comes from her side.
but his last name is still Wayne.
Yeah, I think so.
So his dad's last name had to have been Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. Sometime in the rich world,
Give it time.
the husband takes the wife's name if they're rich enough.
Well, true. I'm not interested in this at all. No. Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's
Okay,
it's trending. So
this is Batwoman in a comic book.
Actually, you know what? This is
That
probably
one
going to be
might
better
be
than
cringe.
Batwoman.
No, I
believe
don't.
it or not, I've been hearing that the last two Batwomans aren't bad. It's like on the upswing. I haven't seen it since like episode 6,
They haven't
But-
been bad. I mean, they've been bad as far as like if you compare them to the quality of like the Flash and like how Arrow was, you know. But for Batwoman, they're actually, you know, pretty darn good.
Yeah, I haven't watched so
That
that.
woman
When she came out that she was.
Bruce's nationality.
Do what, Mads?
That woman didn't change Bruce's nationality.
True.
Oh, I mean, I don't even care about that because I'm not even purchasing that. I'm not even watching that. It's just they just waste their money on as it relates to me.
Mhm.
That don't even look remotely interesting to me.
And where was Clark? Where's Clark Kent?
Okay, see if you made it where Selena liked Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. Okay, now you got a little something going on, but
There are Lois.
Napier
Something.
was even, if I remember right, Napier was
That's
a
Joker.
well, yeah, but it was it depends on again one of the many.
Well, but you saw in this, it showed him with a Joker card.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Yeah, and if you look in the background, it got the
Napier
Joker,
from
Batman.
90s Batman movie, because I can't remember, was Jack Napier in any of this before 1990 or 89 with the Batman movie?
These are different names because it's small.
Yeah, but no, what I mean is the name Jack Napier.
I don't.
Okay, I'm saying the Joker's been different names because
Yes,
right. But what
we
he's
don't know who the Joker is.
Was Jack Napier a name that was kicked around in the comic books before the '89 movie?
I don't think so.
Okay, and my response to that is he's been many different names in the comic books and all throughout.
I'm not bringing.
He's just talking about Jack Napier.
Yeah, I'm not
Sean,
talking
off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but I would have to actually look that one up.
Hold on,
because I don't remember ever reading Jack Napier before the '89 movie. I know the Joker goes by like a lot of different names.
Yeah,
but Jack Napier, because I've heard his name kicked around a lot lately. You know, like, oh, that's a throwback. Because Jack Napier is actually Joker's name in the animated series too.
I think it just stuck because Jack Nicholson.
So first off, I don't like the fact that they're just picking something that was used for a movie that was not completely
canonized.
Yeah, I mean, I would, and you know, I hate using the word canonized, but it's more to the point. If you're going to make a comic book, let's stick with stuff we have from the comic books, and making the other love interest between Selena and Bruce, Clark Kent. That would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been interesting. Now, yes, I know Gotham High doesn't make sense, and there's the other thing. They're making this a graphic love novel, and then they're changing all this crap. Gay uncle, what? Why? Why do you have to do that? It's like, and all you're doing is you're killing something that shouldn't go away.
Alfred's not. He's not family. I mean, he's family, but he's not blood. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think right now we have too many things in the real world to worry about than them giving this trash to infuriate.
Let me play devil's advocate. I've heard both of you say on other streaming that you tired of seeing the same stuff over and over. You can only see Ben kill a certain amount of times in Spider-Man.
You're right.
Only see Thomas and Martha kill a certain amount of time. So now people throwing something different, and now you're saying, "Well, I don't want to do that."
I don't.
You can't have it both ways.
Wait.
Well, but the thing is, they're doing this for diversity points specifically,
and they're not for a rhyme or reason. They're just doing it to do it. And what I actually said was, I don't have to see Bruce's parents killed. I know it happens. I don't have to see that. I didn't ask for a complete rewrite of his backstory, where his mom came from, the fact that his mom now had the money, not his dad, and that now Alfred's not just the butler who became family because he was so tight knit into the family, which is in a sense inclusion, because you let an outside person who's a worker for your family become just like a member of the family. Anyways, you don't have to just fundamentally change everything to give me something new. I'm talking about
forced diversity.
Yeah, exactly. It's forced diversity. But what I mean is, I don't have to see Bruce's parents get killed in every movie. I know it happens.
Well, let me ask this question.
Give me a different viewpoint. And like much like
Again-
what I think the Batman's going to be. It's going to be a different viewpoint on
Okay.
Batman without changing every damn thing in the world about it.
I understand that. And let's say for shits and giggles, white Caucasians were at the they were the minority.
Mhm.
And all these other movies were black people, females, Asians, whatever. But then now they start doing movies that's going to showcase the white male. Wouldn't you be for that?
No,
I
because,
want the
because
best person.
let me go first, Chris, please, if you don't mind. If the core character, okay, if the character was originally a black character, say like Blade, okay, let's use Blade for an example. If Blade came out with a new movie and it was a white guy, I would be pissed off, because anything that takes away from the actual core of the creation of the character, I don't care. I understand, like back in the day, most people were created comic book characters. They were created white because of the era and what have you. But no, if all of these characters, like if Superman was black, if Batman was black, and that's how they were created, I wouldn't want to see any other nationality portray them. I just wouldn't, because
I didn't say main iconic characters. I'm saying you want to see that representation. So I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate now. There are people that don't look like you,
right?
But look more like me and Mads. So don't our opinion or what we want to see, doesn't that matter?
Yes.
Okay,
But
so I'm saying,
then why don't these things take off? Why is every time they force diversify something, and every time they go out and they purposely change the whole core backstory of a character, that these things bomb?
Sometimes it worked. In Daredevil, they changed the Kingpin. It worked. And Doctor Strange,
you're not talking about the core backstory.
Hold on just 1 second. I want to address a comic from United Thrive, or a comment from United Thrive, where he says Warner Brothers doesn't need DC. I would disagree. Warner Brothers may not need DC Comics, but they need the IPs. Any IP that is going to give them $1 billion or $1 billion movie, I think they need them. I think they want them.
And to answer your question, Danny, it's not about the color of the skin of the character. It's not about any of that stuff. Right now, to me, it's what makes a good story. And already this sounds horrible because you're changing the backstory of a character. Just for what reason? Give me one good reason why you would fully change.
Oh, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
That's fine.
I'm just asking
anybody who says, "Well, you just don't like diversity." No, it's not that I don't like diversity. Why, all of a sudden, after how many years has Batman been around?
Because it's not up to me, it's not up to you, but inevitably times do and must change. This is just a part of the change. Some of the changes we're gonna like, some of we're gonna be like, what the hell? But what's gonna change?
What's Batwoman's numbers look like?
I mean, I don't know.
The TV show?
Okay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Goodreads website for this book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the reviews. I'm looking at, and there's a 1-star review here that is fire. You can read it.
Well, send me the link and we'll share it. Send it to me in the private chat and I'll put it up and we can.
The reason why Batwoman is failing is not because of Batwoman the person, it's because it's poor writing.
Yeah,
poor writing is what made Batwoman what she is.
Her comic book is
fire.
It's tremendous.
That's fine, but what is she in the comic book? What's the backstory in the comic book? It was in the series.
She's a part of the Batman family now in the comic books.
Yeah, I mean,
but why it stinks now? If you like in Humans,
it's in the group
I've never read it. I've never read in Humans. People say the comic book is tremendous, but the show stunk it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes the transition from comic book to story is not about the characters or whatever they represent. It's about the people that write the stories on TV don't know what the hell they're doing.
And Batwoman in her comic book, she didn't go and take over for for Bruce Wayne. She didn't hijack
not.
the Batcave. She innovated her own stuff. She made
That's
everything,
correct.
all of her stuff she made.
And
And
she wasn't thumping her chest, I am woman, all the hear me roar craps
No.
that they're doing on TV now. That's not on the character. That's on the people that's on the showrunner.
absolutely. And she was every part of the Bat, like every much as part of the Bat family as Batgirl,
And Robin, everybody else.
Yeah. So no, the Batwoman comic books are good. And I if anybody is turned off from picking up a Batwoman comic because of this TV show, I highly suggest to give them at least a try, because you'll be surprised. They're so much better than the TV show.
What
Yes,
I
Lord.
mean is, okay, I'm not saying that inherently that it's Wonder Woman or not that it's Batwoman that's bad as far as the comic book or anything goes. What I'm saying is there's fundamental things that they do to these things that is writing, like you said. Hold on, which one is it? 1-star review.
You'll have to go. The name is Garm, Garm.
I don't see anything over. Oh,
just
there's a 5-star.
It just occurred to me that this is
Most of the
probably
5 stars are people who have never read the comic before. There you go.
Okay, Garm.
really quick though. It occurs to me that this comic book is probably for Gen Z, which is the same generation that's taking the challenge to lick toilet seats and stuff like that right now. So, consider that.
Say that again.
I said this comic book is probably tailored towards Gen Z, which is the generation that's taking the CV challenge by licking toilet seats right now. So,
Well, not just that, but again, these things have been proven not to sell
oh, I know.
because they whenever they fundamentally change these things,
Anything that targets a generation that is licking toilet seats and
they don't care about comic books.
and purposely coughing on produce so that people have to throw thousands of dollars worth of produce away. Yeah, I really they don't read comic books.
Garm rated this 1 star. As much as it is clear that I've never watched Gossip Girl, it is clear that Melissa here never read a single line in a Batman comic book or novel. She doesn't understand the city. She doesn't understand how Bruce Wayne became Batman or why. And she is insinuating sexual preferences on established characters without even considering the bad consequences that it has. I think this book is trying to tell a Gossip Girl type of story, which is very bad because Batman has nothing to do with this kind of story. She also destroyed the entire Wayne family, pulled racist and ignorant race swaps on the most iconic character in the entire history of storytelling, and ruined the way Bruce Wayne's parents died. If you've never read a single Batman story, do not start here. If you did, or are even a fan of the world's greatest detective, do not read this. If you are a fan of Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, do not read this. If you like Dick Grayson, same. In short, DC needs to fire 2 people before everything is too late. Fire Jim Lee and fire this nobody who never even touched a comic in her life. Stop projecting your fantasy into someone else's work. Damn, this made me angry. I'm out now. Get wrecked, DC.
I agree with everything that they said except for the firing Jim Lee. I would not fire Jim Lee.
It depends on how much he really had to do with it, or if his name's just on it for namesake.
Jim Lee, I believe, is the head of DC right now, and rightfully so.
Well, and I'm not saying to do that. His name's going to be on everything if he's the head of DC. So It's not necessarily his fault. And I understand captains should know all his crew. They should know everything that's going on. But we even know for a fact that captains don't know that. That's why they have people underneath them that have people underneath them that have people underneath them. And as it comes up, you learn, okay, this guy tells me that everything's fine here. They tell their superior, that person tells their superior. That's how you keep things going. So he would have to find out who put this person in charge of this project and say, listen, I'm not firing you. I'm firing this idiot woman. And but this idiot who wrote this story. And I'm going to tell you right now, you ever put somebody back in charge of something like this again and actually give it print and put it out there, you're gone. Because this type of thing is the type of thing that's making comic book companies like DC and Marvel fall apart at the seams, is because they are fundamentally changing comic books and comic book characters. I don't care what color or what race somebody is if they are not an integral set person. There are plenty of interesting characters in both DC and Marvel who were designed with inclusion thought of, but not forced. The X-Men were designed so people could find the character they most identified with, not be told who to identify with. That's the problem right now with any comic book right now that is doing this stuff. They are perpetuating and forcing people to believe this is who I am, or I'm going to read this because they're writing it to me. Before, you found that character who you were like, I identify with this character. Didn't matter what color they were. Didn't matter if they were rich. They weren't. They were smart. They were strong. You found the character that inside of you felt the most like. And they are fundamentally changing all of that, and it pisses me off.
No, they're not fundamentally changing that, and I'm going to tell you why.
Because okay, go ahead. Tell me why.
Okay, about 56 years ago, you didn't see certain lifestyles that you see now. Mm-hmm. You didn't see all that. I was quiet while you talk, so be quiet while I talk, please, sir.
Go ahead.
You didn't see this 50 years ago. You didn't see same-sex marriages. You didn't see men coming out dressing like women, vice versa. You didn't see any of this. So as time changed and people change, this word, what's the word? Politically correct. You never heard that word 40 or 50 years ago. Now, if you say something about somebody, you're gonna worry about getting sued or whatever the case may be. You gotta be, especially if you're a heterosexual now, you gotta be very careful what you say in any medium, because if not, you slap on a lawsuit, they're gonna ban your show or be picking in and saying all this kind of crazy stuff. So as the world is changing, so is the writing and what people say. I'm not saying I agree with it. I agree with what you're saying.
I have one thing to say about that.
Okay.
Be original then. Give us a new character that somebody wants to read. They're doing the new Warriors thing. And they're pissing people off that they're trying to design it for.
What
they're pissing people off our age.
No. Hold on. And I'll actually have to track this one down. But I did share it on my Twitter a while back.
Mm-hmm.
It pissed off. There is somebody who redrew Snowflake who admits that they are both black and non-binary.
Yeah. It's pissing non-binary teens and 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, that range, the people that were designed to be written for, it's pissing them off. Because what they did is say, hey, this is you're going to identify with this. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to write this stuff, I'm not saying don't write it, but don't take a character who's already been written and fully just change it just to change it to identify with something else.
Give us made them look cool.
Yeah.
Why are they in losing outfit?
Give us new characters that fit in there, but don't flamboyantly try to be something they're not. And really part of that is hire writers and hire artists who identify as non-binary, who identify as transgender, and identify as that, but pick them right. What I always say is, it doesn't matter who you hire for the job in a movie necessarily. What matters is, can they do the part? The part doesn't pick the actor. The actor should be right for the part because they're the best fit for the part. If you're looking for a strong Asian gay man for a part, You don't pick the number one person that fits that thing. You want to find the right actor for it. If they are Asian and they are gay, and yes, if it's an Asian character, you really want to try to stay Asian, but let's just go with the fact, find the right fit for the person or for the part. And it's the same thing when you're writing, find the writers who know what they're really talking about. If they're non-binary, they're going to be able to write a comic book about being a non-binary without flamboyantly pointing these things out.
Okay. I hear what you're saying.
And that's what we're talking about.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but I'm telling you, that's not the world we live in. That's the perfect world you're talking about.
But
the perfect, when you're talking about the perfect heterosexual.
No, not heterosexual. None of that. They, when you're pissing off the people you're writing this stuff for, then obviously you're doing something wrong. And it's because, well, I watched the thing about the New Warriors.
That's because the guy who created the New Warriors is a heterosexual white male.
Mm-hmm.
Writing about Black, Latina, non-binary, Asian, writing about things he has no knowledge of.
You need to hire somebody that has knowledge of what they're writing about.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's where your problem is with these things. And that's what I'm saying. It's not asking the world, and it's not a heterosexual look at it. I guarantee
if somebody came out and they were the head writer for the New Warriors and they were part of the LGBTQ community, then that would be perfectly fine, because they know that it's the struggles and everything that community goes through, and they would have a better line, on how to write these characters than a straight man.
And they wouldn't have named the character Snowflake.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, and I'm saying this as a heterosexual white male. You don't use that term endearingly. And no matter what he says, this guy says basically that she takes it, or I'm sorry, that is completely wrong. They take it as a reason to be powerful. These people who hear Snowflake directed at them, and again, some of us throw Snowflake around loosely, but not to a person who fits a profile like that, because that is slander, or not slander, but that is a slap in the face.
It's actually worse than that. Snowflake originally actually was used as the racist.
Okay, yeah, and that's my point, though. You have a white man saying Snowflake, like he thinks that this is going to go over well. You got to hire the right writers. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you know what? Everybody who's read comics read a comic because they identified with it. It's okay to identify with a comic, but not when somebody's writing it telling you that this is how you are.
Yeah.
You read it because it fits you, because you, as a person, as a they, a she, a him, whatever you identify as, you identify with that character because you identify with the character, not because the character was written for you.
And I can tell you, as a plus size woman, ain't no one's going to identify with Trailblazer.
Oh yeah, I saw that and I'm like, oh, this is not right. And you and I were both on the same stream with Chad about this, and why we laugh at it. It is bad.
You guys were laughing. That was painful for me.
I wasn't laughing per se as much as I'm sitting there going like, you just can't do this stuff. This is not right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. All of that, I'm sitting there going like, oh God, yeah, no, don't do that. You got to, I mean, and it's just like the whole workplace, Danny, you work in law enforcement, so you know for a fact that they have to be very careful how things are handled. And you have to make sure that you include everybody into that. You cannot discriminate for whatever reason, whatever. And even more so in your line of work, because it's civil, it's government related, it's all of that. But it's not like they're posting a job out there saying we need an Asian non-binary person to apply for this job. Fundamentally, who gets the job if a job opens up, Danny? The best person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. The best people for these jobs are the people who are going to write what they want. So if they're going to do it, they're going to say, we need people who identify or have distinct knowledge of the LGBTQ movement, of the people who associate with that movement. We need writers who can do that. By doing that, you're not saying we need LGBTQ, we need non-binary, we need this, we need that. You're saying if you have really good knowledge of this, come and write for us. And then you find those people. And trust me, you can tell if they know about this stuff. They'll let you know. I mean, and I think that's the biggest problem is again, when you fundamentally change something just to do so, you're walking on very, very thin ice.
Yeah, but the comic book department of all of these companies are, I mean, right now they've shut down all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was reading an article saying that they may not start back up again even after all this is over. They might just convert completely to digital. So because they're not the comic book industry, the printed comic book industry does not really turn a profit anymore. Maybe a little bit, but you know, this is going to give them time to look at the books and be like, hey, you know, are we really is it really worth printing these things out monthly? And I would almost bet that they're going to go completely digital. And so the comic book, everything comic book related is going to become kind of pointless. It's not going to really matter. You know, all the new creations and stuff that come in comics, I don't think are going to have as big of an impact if they go all digital, because you're going to be cutting your readership down by quite a bit, because there are a lot of people that just don't like to read on devices. They'd rather hold the comic book in their hand as opposed to reading it on a tablet. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, I got Marvel Unlimited, and it is such a blessing and so much easier because you pay a flat fee. You can read whatever comic book you want. The new ones that come out, I think it's about 6 months behind new issues. But if you start reading so much comic books, that's plenty of time to catch up and actually retain what you're reading instead of trying to just rush through it to get to a certain book or a certain storyline or a certain copy. So that's where I'm going.
I hear that.
I'm not doing any more unless it's just something that's fantastic or who I think is going to be a collectible. I may go into the comic store and get something like that, or something that I want to read from long ago. But buying new comic books now, I haven't been to the comic book store. I guarantee you now in 2 months. That's very unusual for me.
You know, what I think they should do, like if they stop printing traditional comic books, I think they could actually get away with printing. What are they called? Anthologies, like the hardbound books of like so many.
They sell them at like Booksman and Barnes and Noble.
Yeah,
kind of like the graphic novels.
Yeah, they could just do like the entire run of like a storyline, you know, in a hardbound book.
It'd probably be cheaper too, because
probably
comic books now
release it all.
I'm at it like $4.99.
Yeah,
you're saying basically like run a digital run of the whole thing, and then when it's over, print. Yeah, that makes sense. I'd do that. And I'm sorry, Danny. I want to apologize. I get vocal about certain things because I believe everybody should be represented. I really do. The problem is they need to be represented correctly. And
we're not disagreeing. All I'm saying is that we live in a world now that those same values and ideals that you got and way things be done, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
This world right here does not care about what seems to be morally right. They care about what I want, how I feel, how I want it done.
But
They don't care.
Like
they don't care.
Said that it's obvious that this person has never read anything, and they have not an original.
I'm not doubting that
body.
But I'm telling you,
I know
the Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and stuff that we read and grew up to and watching now.
Some of it's
when we're dust, it's going to be totally different.
No, I don't think so. I think you'll still have an original run.
I think it is.
That stays the same. I think. What was that, Matt?
The way I'm looking at it right now, and it's the only thing keeping me from like really getting all pissed off about a lot of this nonsense, is I look at them trying to do this whole inclusive whatever. You're like, yeah, we're gonna put out this LGBT character that is horribly offensive when you really look at it. But I look at it the same way like they tried putting an Asian character into Breakfast and Tiffany's. They had the good intentions there, but again, they did it with a horribly racist stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, we wouldn't even consider anything near like that.
Mm.
If they ever redid Breakfast and Tiffany, that character would be rewritten.
Yeah.
I think they should write all Asian characters like Long Duck Dong.
Oh God, Sean.
What?
Oh, geez,
all negative comments, please be sent to Sean Stackhouse on Twitter.
Yes. Okay. Let's just say something. Let's say something about what Sean just said. It's from a comedy movie.
Yes.
And for comedy purposes, you have to have a very, very thick skin because.
Not to mention, it's from a comedy movie from like what 84, 85.
Yeah. But think about all the people Mel Brooks made fun of, including their own people. You can't do that anymore. That's one of the things I'm saying. He made
in
fun of everybody.
certain mediums you can't do it.
But even in comedy, somebody writes that they get trashed for it. But what's funny is Mel Brooks made fun of his own people, Jewish people.
If
everybody,
the John Hughes movies of the 80s were released today, so some of the comedy, in those movies like Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles, Breakfast Club.
You couldn't have the nerds. You couldn't have all, the people. It just, and yeah, I see where you can say it's offensive, fine. But you know what? Eddie Murphy, the reason why Eddie Murphy was funny is because he made fun of people in a way that everybody was like, okay, comedy is about stereotypes, right or wrong.
Yep.
And when you take that out of things,
I think it's certain moves. I think you can get away with it. Like if you go back and watch Archie Bunker, there is no way.
But they've done it.
Huh?
They've done two last year and this year. They did two live.
I saw that.
But were they like full blown?
Yeah,
or?
they were the original scripts.
I don't know about that.
That's what they said. They said it was the original scripts, unedited. I'm sure they heavily poured over the least offensive ones because, yes, Archie Bunker was a racist.
Was ahead of his time. And it was funny.
It was.
I used to watch Archie Bunker, the Jeffersons, same thing.
Exactly. But that was kind of what the charm of it was, is that him and in the who was the head character of the Jeffersons?
George Jefferson.
George Jefferson.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. That their constant battle with each other was.
I think, but not to cut you off, but Chappelle Show.
Yeah,
that was only a few years ago. I mean, it can be done. It can be done. You just got to be smart about it.
It was late 90s and 2000s, and now I'm sure people would have a problem with it. That's why they're not on anymore, because they don't. Even Chappelle, when he did his special for YouTube, or not YouTube,
Netflix.
People jumped all over him. But what I thought was great was he was doing what people used to do, what Eddie Murphy used to do.
He came back and he did what he's always done.
and that's
He
fine.
didn't care.
I didn't hear much.
Oh.
Oh, people were
They were livid with him, which is funny because it's like this was what comedy was about.
And Cat Williams, I mean, he can say whatever the hell he wants to say.
Well, yeah, but no, they get on him now too.
Mhm.
You know, when Gene Wilder and
Richard
Pryor did their movies together, and they called, he called Wilder honky and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed. It was funny because of the dynamic that they had, but they loved each other. They were great friends, and it was okay to make fun of that stuff because we all knew that it was just, as you say lots of times, Danny, we were being taken out of reality. It was just funny. We could laugh at it, but they've made everything so tense and so muddled and muddy that they've taken the joy out of a lot of this stuff. And we talked about it yesterday. That the need for that reality or that full inclusion of everything and everyone. Let's not piss anybody off. Let's not laugh at anybody because God knows life in itself is not funny. Mm-hmm. It's like you're taking away the basic fundamentals of comedy. You want to be dramatic? You want to do drama? You want to do history, biopics and stuff? Fine. Now we can talk about. We don't talk like that. We don't say these things. But when it comes to comedy,
I give comedians a pass. I don't know about nobody else.
Yeah, I do too, for the most part.
I give comedians a pass. Whenever it's something that's pure comedy, I give it a pass. So I don't know.
And that's ridiculous. Because as much as Dave Chappelle makes fun of white people, Caucasian, whatever you want to call us, he makes fun of himself as much as he does anybody else. In fact, the part where him and Wayne Brady, that part right there, he ends up being this guy who's selling drugs, doing pimping hookers and stuff like that. And Wayne Brady's Wayne Brady's does that. And Dave Chappelle is this guy going like, "Oh my God, don't do that. We're black, and we're gonna get stopped by the cops." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm Wayne Brady." And the way he turns on the charm, that's funny when you talk about it like that. It's sad, though, that we've gotten away from just being able to laugh at ourselves. And that's what it comes down to. We should all be able to laugh at ourselves. Sean disappeared.
I know he's bling.
Well, I have to go too, though.
All right. Well, we wrapped up. We've been on 1 hour and 38 minutes, which is fantastic. Very deep discussion. Brought up a lot of good points. The discussion with the main topic was very engaging, very enjoyable. I appreciate all the time and effort you put into answering it, Chris and Mads. Before we go, just tell everybody where they can find you at. Start with Mads Mama Bear.
Hey guys, Mads Mama Bear here. You can find me at Mads Mama Bear on Twitter, YouTube, and now Instagram as well. I am actually 8 spots away from 200 subscribers, so awesome on that one. And Thursday nights you can find me on the Queen's Council. At this point, whether it's me or Christy hosting it this week, that's still up in the air, but Thursday nights 9:30 Eastern, don't miss it.
All right. And Mr. Knight,
and you can find go ahead, sorry,
I'll just say tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me over at the Real Review 3000. You can find me over here on Mondays, Sundays. We do a Rule of 3 over on my channel right now. We do it also simulcast on the Chaos Central website or the Chaos Central YouTube. And then Tuesdays, typically over on Sean Stackhouse's channel, we do the Chaos List. I'm not sure if it'll be on the Real Review 3000 this week or over there. I have to get with Sean and find out what he says because I have topics. If he wants them, then we'll do it on his show or on his channel. But we'll definitely let you guys know though. But trying to get to 1,500 subs by June 9th. Please help me out. And thank you, Danny, as always, for having me on and letting me rant, rave, and talk way too much.
No problem, bro. And I am Danny. My channel is Comment Chats. This is my show, the Chaotic Conversation. We have on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Tomorrow night we'll be with Chris and hopefully Sean. We're going to do his show, the Chaotic what's the name of it? The Chaos List. I apologize. The Chaos List. And on Sundays, we're going to do the Rule of Three and with myself, Sean, and Chris. That's be very entertaining. Also, Chris's show on Thursday, the Weekly Rumble, which is an outstanding show. And also, please catch my show Sunday afternoons, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Terrence. It's called Equilibrium. Please catch us on there. As always, thanks for your support. I appreciate the chat. Again, happy birthday. Enjoyed, and we'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Hit the end.